Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your...
And now, the end is near.
Potentially last photo news fix of 2025. First up, Nikon has dropped some new firmware with this opening tagline on their press release that says, "The best gets better." Kind of like me, I just keep getting better and better.
Better than what?
Now, I can't wait to hear what firmware 320.0 brings us. Phone call? Oh, I wonder who that could be. Hello? Oh, Madeline K with Nikon PR? Oh, it's firmware 5.3? Now go away. Oh, okay, you're mean. Okay. That was so hot. Anyway, firmware 5.30 is for the Nikon Z9 and adds multiple focus enhancements. Starting with a significant improvement in subject acquisition, tracking, and stability for fast-moving subjects such as athletes. And Nikon also goes on to say that their deep learning tech now works in other focusing modes, making it easier to track the correct subject, even if you're in single point or the dynamic AF modes. You know what's funny? We're on 5.3 and we're still slowly improving that autofocus. One day it will get there. One day. On top of that, you can now toggle subject detection on and off with a custom function button. Other improvements can be found in the auto capture functions, which they updated the autofocus. Now, this is a really cool function, something that Canon and Sony do not have. It's like a camera trap, but it's built into the camera and you're not using some third-party super cheap looking camera that takes really bad pictures. Instead, you're using an expensive Z9 with better added autofocus now. And the last update that 5.3 brings is that it adds support for flexible color picture control in NX Studio. Basically, these are user-generated presets that can be installed on your camera, but also shared with other users. I have to jump in here real quick to remind you of my 2-week rule when it comes to firmware and installing it on your cameras. 2 weeks! I still recommend, even with Nikon, waiting 2 weeks before you install any new firmware. Even though it's probably pretty good and you might want some of the updates, I still would wait it out personally if you have no issues with your current camera. Let's give Nikon props for not calling this firmware 6.0 and going with 5.3. Now, my biggest question is this: why isn't the Z8 firmware updated at the same exact time, since they are literally the same camera? Could someone let me know why they think it's just one and not both? Let me know down below. Next up, Canon Rumors has dug up a few interesting lens patent filings. The two potential future lenses are the 300 f2 and a 200 f1.8. Now, let's remind you that just because Canon files patents for lens formulas doesn't mean those lenses will ever see the light of day.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
The other big question here is, are these two lenses even necessary? Now, I think Canon has also answered this first question in regard to the 300mm when they put out the $10,000 100 to 300 2.8. That lens is extremely versatile, and the difference between f2 and 2.8 at that focal length is nominal. Now, on the flip side, if it was close in size to Sony's 300 2.8 and not $10,000, maybe it would sell, but I personally would take the versatility of the zoom over the faster prime. Now, in regards to the 200 1.8, I think it's just way too limiting. Sure, it would be cool and all, but again, light gathering ability these days isn't as important as it once was, meaning our ISOs don't top out at 1600 anymore like they did when we were using film, rendering the need for super fast glass like this kind of a little useless in some situations.
It is useless.
Personally, I'd rather see Canon work on more of what I like to call the prime zooms, like an updated 28 to 70 f2 would be nice because Sony's is super light and compact even though it's 7 years newer, and something similar to Sony's amazing 50 to 150 f2. Now, would you pop on either of those two lenses? If so, why? Let me know down below, because I'd love to hear what you have to say. Maybe I'll read your comment.
It's unauthorized clickbait.
Maybe I won't. You never know until you comment. Now, before I get to the last story, the code FRODAY20 for $20 off the Grand Slam bundle of Lightroom presets is about to be deactivated.
Deactivate!
Head on over to FroKnowsPhoto.com/FroPack4, add the Grand Slam bundle to your cart, and enter the code FRODAY20 at checkout to instantly get $20 off. This is your last chance. And finally, Canon Rumors dropped some info on what they say will be Canon's future retro style camera. Now, Canon Rumors is basing this info off a conversation they had with someone who said that the camera is coming in 2026. Soon. Now, boy, do I have a lot to say about this retro idea, but I'll save that until after the rumored specs.
It's always tease, tease, tease.
Now, Canon Rumors claims that the retro camera will sport the same sensor as the R6 Mark III, have less features, minimal video specs, have an entry-level Digic X processor, possibly have some retro lens options, and will try to hit the $1999 price point. Now here's my thoughts, because I know you're dying to hear what I have to say about the retro movement.
Old but cool.
But being retro just to be retro doesn't make sense to me. And I think Canon knows this, because a Canon executive was quoted as saying, "We really focus on the ergonomics of the grip, the positioning of the dials, the buttons, and other elements." So if we were to do that with the design of the AE1, would it really achieve the kind of ergonomics and usability that we need in a Canon camera? Question mark?
Damn it! Who typed a question mark?
No, that is the perfect response, because that makes total sense. Remember that most retro cameras were rectangular blocks with not much to hold on to. And as I've said in the past, just because you go retro doesn't mean you need to ignore 50 years of ergonomic refinements. I'm looking at you, Nikon ZF. Oh, but Jared, small rig can make a grip for it after the fact. Look, if you know your camera's gonna be flatter than this guy's chest, maybe it's time to go back to the drawing board. You know, solve the issue before you create the issue. Now, Canon should just make an R8 Mark II and call it a day. By all means, make it look retro, but make it freaking functional. And not just a look at me, look at me. I'm some 20-something who cares more about looks than functionality. 6'7", bet, dead ass. Anything else? Truth? Facts? I don't know. What else do these fucking kids say today?
I don't know.
I'm old, bitch. You know who gets this idea right? Sony. Sony gets it right with the A7C line, and that's the direction I think Canon should go if they go any direction at all. Now, what do you think? Let me know down below. And there you have it. That just might be your last photo news fix of 2025, unless something major happens and I need to report on it, in which case I will try to do my best. Thank you very much for your continued support. Jared, Polin from KnowsPhoto.com. See ya.